So my name is Jonathan Walton, and I'm the director of the New York City Urban Project, a ministry to the poor, to the oppressed, and to the widow within InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. InterVarsity is part of the International Fellowship of Evangelical Students, the largest student ministry in the world. And within that ministry, you have these global and urban projects. And what that looks like is students deciding to take 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes longer, out of their summers to decide that they're going to live among what we would call poor people, what we would call the oppressed, what we would call the marginalized, what we would call the people who live on the outskirts of society. Because that's what the gospel calls us to do. James 1:27 says that the only religion that is guiltless and blameless is the caring of the poor and the widow. Ezekiel 16:49 says, "This was the sin of your sister Sodom, that they did not care for the poor, they were arrogant, and did not care for the needy, and were overfed." So what would it look like if we decided to take our time, our talent, our resources, and cast them into 6 to 8 weeks of serving, whether that be at a soup kitchen, whether that be at a nonprofit, whether that be at rehabilitating child soldiers, whether that be in feeding the homeless, whatever that looks like for you, that is what we aim to create here in New York City. We live in Washington Heights, one of the most underserved communities in New York City, a place where 60% of the children don't read at their grade level. In fact, they read 3 grades below. A region where 55% of the children don't do math at their grade level, most of the time 3 or more below. So what would it look like for students from Columbia, Baruch, St. John's, NYU to come together and say, hey, we're going to tutor that 1 kid a week? People ask, how do you change the world? Sometimes it looks like being in the same place for that kid that has no stability in their lives from 4 to 6 every single week. Because they know when they get out of that school that is under resources, they don't have books and all that stuff, there will be a student waiting for them to do their homework, to talk with them. That's what changing the world looks like sometimes. And you can do that here. This summer, we have students interning at Restore NYC, the only safe house and organization devoted to caring for internationally sex trafficked victims. This year we have students interning at Merrill Lynch. We have students interning at Operation Exodus. We have students interning at the Know Me Network. You'll be able to read about all of these partnerships that we have on our partnerships part in the website. You can learn what kids are doing and also receive the invitation to do these things yourself. All are welcome. There's enough work to do, and there'll always be more people to do it. So you're invited to take part in the summer project, but also to learn more about our spring projects and our year-round projects. And also, how do you do this in your own community? Don't be afraid to ask.